The Better Photography Wildlife India Photography Awards 2017 is a platform that recognizes and rewards talent in wildlife photography from the country. The awards saw prolific photographers come together and relive their experiences while also discussing new technology and wildlife conservation with experts. The awards are a curtain raiser to the Wildlife Photography Masterclass in Kenya, which the winner of today's award gets to attend. Puneet Chadha of HP kicked things off and introduced the audience to new printing technologies that are taking the world by storm.
Exhibitions are everywhere today. It's not about museums alone. This is a photographer from US, and she was actually Mary Jordan, and she went to Ethiopia, and she got really sick there. So some lady actually tried to help her out, and she tried to give her some gifts. So that lady said, "Don't give me any gifts. Just go back and do something about water in Ethiopia." So when Mary Jordan actually went back to the US, she started thinking, what should I do about Ethiopia? How do I make water conservation a big project here? And she used this technology, HP's technology, to actually wrap all the water bodies, all the water tanks in New York. So if you go to New York, you actually see this on a non-tearable media with all the photographs, all the images which artists have done there. This was an amazing, amazing project. Let me end this with a quote from Jonas Salk. If all the insects were to disappear from Earth within 50 years, all life on Earth would end. If all human beings were disappeared from Earth within 15 years, all forms of life would flourish.
Winner of BBC's Wildlife Photographer of the Year 2016, Nayan Khanolkar, spoke about his project on leopards in Mumbai, highlighting how fragile the wildlife world is.
A leopard was burnt alive in Uttarakhand, and the poor animal died in 19-20 minutes. A cage was set to capture it. The animal got into it, and surprisingly, the villagers, they just poured kerosene on it and set fire. So this video is there on YouTube, and it disturbed me so much that I said that this is not correct. I mean, this is not happening in a right way. People are reacting violently towards animals. I mean, in a country where wildlife is worshipped in some parts, at other parts you have this kind of incidents. So it is this incident that shifted my focus from bird photography to leopard photography. This animal we got in camera traps, and it's a female leopard. The day we got her, we realized that she was handicapped. The injury was fresh, and she was limping. Left paw was missing. And everyone thought that in a city like Mumbai, where people density is 30,000 human beings per square kilometer, it's a potential risk. Now, our research eventually, I mean, we did camera trapping extensively in our area, and we realized that she was avoiding interactions with humans. Originally, there was a thought to capture her, but she was pregnant at that time, so they had to delay that process, and she delivered a young one. And except one or two people and our volunteers, nobody spotted her in that entire 1 year phase. A handicapped leopard living in a Mumbai, in the center of the city, and not picked up by any human being is unbelievable. Thank you very much.
Jayant Sharma of Toehold posed some thought-provoking questions for the audience as he spoke about photography taking him to far corners of the natural world.
Who do you all do photography for? So my options are, it's not an open-ended question. There are two radio buttons. The answers are for myself or for the others. So please raise your hands if your answer is myself. Okay, fantastic. And the others? Others, just a few of them? Great. I am raising my hand also. Let me explain what my question means. My question means, what is the end result of your photo supposed to do? Is it made for your own consumption, or are you making it for somebody else, which could be just your family, just your colleagues to show where you traveled on a vacation, or could be to a larger audience, to write a book, to send it to a magazine, to make a video or a film out of it or anything. So if you realize, very few of us actually take pictures for our own self. Now, if I answer this question myself, why I take pictures, I must tell you that I don't take pictures for myself at all. I was recently in Patagonia where I trekked a lot to find mountain lions or puma. I was realizing if I really wanted to be there for myself, I didn't need to carry a 15-kilo camera along with myself because I am looking at the animal 20 feet away in my naked eye. And if I want to do that for my own self, I don't have to lug around a camera and do things. Apart from shooting pretty images, it's important to also learn technique and learn how to operate your cameras. I feel when I meet a lot of people, less than half of the people really know the camera well. They do make good pictures of things which are in good light, which is, on most cases, but when there is a tough situation, when there's action, when there is different light, backlight, it's very difficult for people to use their cameras well. So I still feel, as a photography enthusiast, the initial investment you do in learning how to use your camera is definitely very, very important. Thank you very much.
Listening to all these speakers, several speakers today on wildlife conservation has been an amazing, amazing experience for me. Hundreds of photographers coming here, talking about how they can conserve wildlife. It's such an emotional moment for a photographer when he actually takes the first picture looking at an animal, and a lot of emotion actually goes through him. It's that one click, that less than 30 seconds, which he wants to communicate to the rest. I think our job is, as a community, we need to really get together to actually make sure that every single person on this earth is connected to nature.
A few months ago, when Better Photography and Toehold, we started discussing about this idea. The idea was to create a platform where a few great photographers of India who have been doing their work will come on board and share their experiences and inspire photographers or photo enthusiasts who can take ideas from what others are doing. So we created a concept where we could have a competition, then double it up with a seminar kind of a thing where people hear experts speak, and also we would conclude it with a field workshop to Kenya.
Rathika Ramaswamy, a passionate wildlife photographer, spoke keenly about conservation and reached out to audience members to practice caution while photographing.
Photography is a powerful tool. This one I saw, I think, few years back in newspaper. It's taken by, I think, point and shoot camera. Okay, people are cutting tree, and few people are watching also. And without explaining, you can see the sticks. I think it's a woolly stroke neck stroke bed, and you can see how the habitat is going. Maybe without knowing people are cutting. They don't have any idea of birds also have nesting in their area. Maybe it may be private area, but how, as a photographer, what we can do? Because we always going for beautiful photograph, and to do conservation photograph is a powerful tool. As a photographer, what we can do? The first thing is species conservation, follow ethics of wildlife photography. Respect your subject. Of course, it's a very tough, not a good topic, but as a new photographer, without knowing, we are harming them. We are harming our subject, species. So please follow. Don't corner them for the close-up shot. Thank you so much.
Wildlife photographer and filmmaker Feisal Malik of Kenya stressed on the global responsibility of countries to conserve wildlife.
An elephant is killed every 15 minutes. That is worrying because, by the time I finish this presentation to you, there will be a dead elephant in Africa somewhere. That is the harsh reality of it. Today, there's only 38,000 of them left in Kenya. The conservationists are trying really hard to try and reverse the numbers, to try and save them. There's a lot of awareness. But it is a difficult war, and hopefully we will win. We should be positive about it. I don't like painting grim, negative pictures. We will win, hopefully. But there's, of course, the case of loss of habitat, global warming. What happens out here, what happens in Europe, does affect us, does affect the rest of the world, does affect elephants. I'll give an example of Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro is losing its glaciers. They say eventually there will be no ice or snow on the mountain. But the waters of Kilimanjaro come and feed Amboseli. Amboseli has the highest population density of elephants in Kenya. So we really have to take responsibility internationally as people. We really, it's not just the responsibility of the parent country where elephants live. It's an international thing. All of us have to take up this responsibility. Thank you to everyone. Thank you for hosting me. You've been a lovely, lovely audience. Thanks.
A keen wildlife photographer, Sandesh Kadur, spoke about his experience of discovering new species and how photography helps in conservation and spreading awareness.
My favorite part of the wilderness is up in the mountains. So I spend a lot of my time in the Western Ghats. This is a lizard that's not known to science. It's a new species. So actually coming across a new species is one of the most exciting things of my job, because it's a species that nobody knows about, and then it's there right in front of you. So it's up to you to name it. But this is what's happening. We are losing species even before we know their names. But like any of these places with new species, they're being destroyed at a very rapid rate. Roads are being built, dams are being built. There are countries removing dams. And here we are as a nation right now in 2017, and we still want to make dams. And there are other countries that are now taking out dams because they realize it was such a big mistake. And people don't realize, the bureaucracy doesn't realize the impact it's going to have on the millions of lives that depend on the little things, like the little fish that live in these rivers, because once those dams are built, the fish are gone. And no one is out there trying to even document what's underwater, what's in these freshwater streams, what these people depend on. And millions of livelihoods are going to get lost once those fish disappear. Thank you.
Editor of Better Photography K. Madhavan Pillai sat down with renowned Indian wildlife photographer Dhritiman Mukherjee for a conversation about his travels and the challenges of photographing in the wild.
Dhritiman, you're a very process-oriented photographer. I believe that the last 10 days you were in the Baikal Lake diving and making pictures.
So basically I was documenting the life and the situation under the ice because this is winter. So first part I spent 5 days in White Sea, which is in Arctic part of Russia, near to Murmansk, Finland border, and Baikal is definitely in South Siberia. So both are frozen, both area is frozen. And the thing is, because it is frozen, there are two major changes. One is the temperature is very low in the water, and because of ice surface, the light penetration in the water is very low. So because of low light penetration, the oxygen producing, the amount of oxygen produced by phytoplanktons are very less. So life becomes slow.
You said that disappointment is a big part of photography.
So it's like the basic theory. Sometimes definitely I feed my mind. It's like when you're in the field, how is the trip? Trip is amazing. The trip is, it is excellent.
The trip is always amazing.
Yeah, but the photography is very bad because you have to go for that. But what nature is giving, that is definitely the best possible we are having. But in most cases, I love to plan it. I love to visualize it, that what I actually want, and want to reach close to that visualization. So for that, I have to predict it. So for prediction, I need to know the subject. I need to know the natural history. So definitely I do a homework first. Then I talk with the local people.
What I'm getting from what you just said is that photography is actually not just capturing what is already available, but it is about planning and putting yourself out there and getting yourself to be a part of the image.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As a wildlife photographer, I think it's really important for you to do your homework before you come down and shoot. Now, when I say homework, what do I mean? You need to understand wildlife. You need to read up a bit on African wildlife, on the species found in Kenya. How do they behave? What do they do? What's their instinctive behavior? That way, when you're capturing them, you're one step ahead. You'll be able to understand, you'll be able to know that what are they about to do. am I able to capture these two lionesses coming to rub heads together because they're meeting after so long? So it's really important for you to do that.
Wildlife India Photography Awards is another important showcase to be able to encourage and inspire youngsters to get into documenting the natural world, to allow them to see differently and to engage with an audience that may not be connected to the natural world.
Technology is constantly advancing and cameras are not far behind. Hitesh of Panasonic and Sandesh Khadur introduced Panasonic's newest offering to the audience.
Now is called GH5. H means a hybrid. It's a hybrid camera with pictures as well as for motion pictures. Right? A 4K camera at 60 frames per second. In 1 second, it is capturing 60 frames, 60 pictures.
Let me tell you, this is one phenomenal piece of machinery. This is probably the most exciting camera on the market in the last, I don't know, 6-7 years. Because as a filmmaker, it does everything in one package. The reason why I changed and I switched over to the GH series, and it happened a few years ago when the GH2 came out. With the GH2 and the GH3, I could suddenly do broadcast quality video work on a very, very small compact body. I didn't need the big cameras and the big lenses because in a much smaller form factor, I was able to get equal, if not better quality while recording video. Thank you all.
All the photographers who you've seen today, who have presented work today, all of them have contributed to a very special thing. We've actually initiated something that is very, very special. It is a book on Indian wildlife photography. Can we have all the contributing photographers please come on stage, please?
A limited edition book, Moments from the Wild, was unveiled at the awards. The proceeds of the book will go to charities for the conservation of wildlife. The event concluded with the award ceremony. The awards had two categories, an open category for all contestants and an emerging photographer category for contestants aged 27 or younger. The judges were faced with the task of narrowing down 6,000 entries to find two winners. Let's have a look at the final nominees. And the winner in the open category is Shabir Turakal.
Shabir is not with us, but we have the next winner with us, the Emerging Photographer of the Year, Pratik Pradhan. The winners, both from the open category and Pratik as well, get a special masterclass in Kenya for 7 days, completely sponsored.
The winner of the Emerging Photographer Award bagged an all-expenses-paid wildlife photography masterclass in Kenya, which will be covered in the next episode. Stay tuned.